Before we call to order, Madam Chairman, calls to order again for those who just came in. This is a special call board meeting, and meaning if it's not on the agenda, it will not be addressed tonight. If anyone in the audience or in the community has concerns about any of the agenda items, please let me know. I will immediately forward those to the chair, and we will make sure that those get addressed, especially if those issues are of such urgency that we need to address those before our next regular scheduled meeting. Also on the agenda, because it is a special call board meeting, moved from what was originally said on Monday, there is no new business item as it's on the regular session agenda.
Okay, this is on the new, it says Martin County Board of Education regular meeting, March the 11th. Is today the...
It's the 11th.
And then...
It just automatically set there.
And then down here it has on item number 17, new business. Just calling everyone's attention to that.
And as I shared, because it's a special call board meeting, you can't have new business. Everything is not on the agenda.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to welcome everyone and call the meeting to order. Our first item would be the Pledge of Allegiance. Y'all join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Maybe seated. I've asked Sergeant Carroll to share about his troop here, so go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Cadet Major Larry Killian. He is currently a junior at Fairfield High School. I'll be moving into hopefully my battalion commander's position next year, but the current year he is my battalion executive officer. He's been with the program now. This is his third year, so he's doing extremely well in the program. And any question they have, feel free to ask.
I'd just like to say he's a fine looking soldier.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Our next item will be Student Spotlight.
This evening, we'd like to recognize our students first, and our first student that we'd like to recognize is our Region Academic Team winner, and that's Cameron McCormick from Martin County Middle School. Have been able to make it this evening?
Show up.
All right, that's fine. You can move things around,
He's
folks.
studying, I bet.
Also, we want to recognize tonight state wrestling winners at Inez Elementary School, Jack Kane and Nick Jake Giampalo. Is he here? Nick Jake? Come on up here, Jake.
Come up here.
Correct me on my articulation. All right, Jay. This is Martin County School Student Spotlight this evening for the Board of Education. I want to recognize both of you for doing us proud. Truly value education here in Martin County. We're so very proud of you and the hard work that you put in, not only in athletics and sports, but especially in the classroom. And they do go hand in hand. So it's a Student Spotlight. This certificate is awarded to Jake Kane. Is that right? All right. For typifying the value of a Martin County education. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Nick, I get Nick right. What? Pronounce the last name. Giampalo. Okay. And again, Student Spotlight certificate is awarded to Nick Giampalo. Did I get it right? All right. For exemplifying the value of a Martin County education. We're very, very proud of you. Congratulations. about your wrestling experience? So how
They are
many
state champions.
Yeah,
That's
state
right.
State champions, first place in the state in their weight division, so pretty impressive.
Can you take Mr. Markham down on the
They
mat?
want to challenge Mr. Meadows to wrestling.
We had archery out here last year.
I'm not gonna take it big.
We do MMA. There's my surrogate. He's gonna stand in for me, okay? Did you want to take a picture of us here? Might we mug him here if he's fine young men?
They're excellent kids and
Make me
wonderful
look
students too. Excellent.
Are they the only wrestlers that went?
Now, there were several that went, that were placed like fourth, there were several that placed fourth,
Those are two state
fifth,
champions.
sixth, yeah,
State
real
champs.
big youth, but they were
State
state champs in their weight division, so.
Very good. We're proud of state champs.
State
That's
champs.
pretty awesome. You got brothers or sisters at home?
I got a sister.
Do you wrestle?
It was sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are you in different classes, right, for to be state champs? Okay. All right. What grade are you in?
Yeah.
Fourth. Fourth? All right. Well, congratulations to both of you.
We expect them to do the same when they get to high school.
Carissa.
She is on her way, she's coming back from a field trip.
Yes.
From Moorhead, so I've been texting.
Okay.
She's on her way, she'll be here in a few minutes.
If you follow me on Twitter, which you can go, it's like a marketing tool, doesn't it? But Carissa was picked up by the Craft Academy. This is, I don't know, it's just tremendous for our community and for our schools. The Craft Academy is the complement to the Gatton Academy that has been the #1 high school in the U.S. for I don't know how many years. But the Craft Academy was given one of the largest endowments, cash, by the way, by Mr. Kraft, who is out of Perry County, I believe. Native out of Perry County, to Morgan State University. And Carissa was selected to be amongst the inaugural class this coming fall as a junior. And she'll spend 2 years down there as a dual credit student and graduate not only from, get her diploma, high school diploma, but also she'll have 2 years of college under her belt. So we're very proud of Carissa and we'll recognize her if she gets here. And also who's on the same trip is Betty Hunt. I shared with the board earlier because I get newsletters in several days before the board meeting so that you guys can have them before then. But Betty was selected, promoted to Frankfort. Is that a good way to put that? She was promoted. I don't know about living in the tower, but Betty's going to represent our community very well and establish a good bridge for us to call when we need things. But she'll be down in the Career and Technical Ed department at Frankfort. And she has done a tremendous job for us here in this community and in our school district, and we're sadly going to miss her. But Ms. Williams has implemented a great program. It's going to be the IT, so we're right now engaged in hiring an instructional technology IT person, the backfill person. That's going to be good for our students too. And from the Kentucky Farm Bureau, Billboard?
Cameron is here too, when you circle back around.
He was the first.
Yeah, first one, or our academic winner. Okay, come on up, Cameron. Give Cameron a hand. What about your academic competition? What really put you over the top then? What do you think? Wow, did you hear that?
That's a great answer.
That's a great answer. Did they put you up to that? Did Brian, did you get put up to that, Mr. Page?
Good answer.
I tell you, that's a wonderful compliment to you, sir. Compliment. It really is.
Because he plays in social studies, is what looks like. He'll be testing this week.
And Mr. Farley is social studies teacher, that's the connection.
Okay. Well, that's a good answer, by the way. I'm sure you'll continue to get good grades in this class. But we are very proud of you. And again, as we recognize a couple of other students here tonight in their athletic achievements, it certainly goes hand in hand with academics. And we're just as proud and even more important of your academic success. And we hope that you serve as a good role model. I know you do in your school and this community. But we're so very proud of you and what you've done. And for tonight, we want to recognize you, our County School Student Spotlight. The certificate is awarded to Cameron McCormick for exemplifying the value of Martin County education. We're very proud of you. Thank you very much. And thank you, sir, for the work that you do. Did you do anything? It doesn't look like. Kentucky Farm Bureau, do we have? We wanted to recognize Kentucky Farm Bureau for their partnership because they do support our Inn at the Win Eden Elementary School and also the Bourne Learning Academies and so many others. If you look across the street at the billboard for the Cardinals, Shell Cardinals, you'll see that that is provided for by the Kentucky Farm Bureau here locally. So we appreciate the partnership that all of our businesses get engaged with our students here and want them to be successful. So we appreciate that. I believe that's it.
Okay, the next item will be our consent agenda. And understand we want to take them one at a time. So our first one will be discussion and possible action on February the 9th, 2015 board minutes. Does anyone have anything they would like to discuss on that? Any comments? If not, then I need a motion to approve. Got a motion, I need a second.
I'll say.
I have a second, I need a vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, discussion and possible action on treasurer's orders in the amount of $201,381.99 and paid warrants in the amount of $469,861.47. Any discussion or comment?
Which group of, is this, which group of payments are you making, are you asking for a motion for?
Item B.
Yes. Just some clarification. I'm ignorant of some situations being new. On page 3, there's a payment to C&T Design and Equipment Company for $26,000. Who is C&T Design and what do they do for us? I'm not questioning that they didn't do it. I'm just.
I believe that is
Which page is that?
Page 3 on the page 1 report.
That is ovens for the food service.
That's an oven?
I believe it's ovens for food service. And that is at Martin County Middle.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see if I circled anything else on this group. I'm leaving my DNA everywhere. No, that's it on that. The treasurer's orders. This Apple Valley Sanitation, is this for a month? That's $3,600.
That's for the entire district.
That's for all.
Removal of our-
Yeah, no, but that's a month. Is that the regular payment?
Yes.
Okay. The do we pay, I guess it's for this building, on page 5 of that same group, the Martin County Economic Development, Water, Electric, and Sanitation, is that for this building?
Yes. And that is, I believe that was on the dates, and I'll have to pull the invoice, but I believe that's since July.
Okay, that was my question about it being pretty high.
Yes.
And what was the water being tested for at Warfield Elementary School and at Eden on page 6 where McCoy and McCoy, no relations, was paid for? What kind of testing did we have?
Wastewater for Eden Elementary and Martin County Middle School.
Okay, so we test for,
Bacteria,
Okay.
I'll
okay.
do samples every.
And I'll do one other. This loudspeaker on page 7, which was $1,527, Sound House Music. What was that?
That's an Inez Elementary speaker system.
It's in our gym. Our speaker was busted. It was in our
Okay.
cafeteria auditorium, and we put new speakers up.
Okay, just, my questions would be eliminated if, and I know it's more work, but if there was just a little word or two being a note of where this went to,
Yes.
you know, so I would know. That I have no, and we used a wrecker. Mr. Yates, we paid a wrecker service.
Yes.
Was it a bus?
Yes.
Oh.
And it has the bus number on there.
Okay, what, okay. Oh, I see, okay. No one was hurt, were they?
No.
Okay, good. And was the uniforms on page 8, was that for soccer?
I believe that was for cheerleading.
Oh, okay. So I just remembered we had approved money for the soccer team, and I
Yes.
just wondered if that had already gone through pretty quick.
Yes, I believe that's cheerleading.
Well, that's all my questions. Anyone? Thank you for allowing me to ask.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
I've got a motion, I'm gonna have a second, now I need a vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is approval of trips, vehicles, and use of district property requests.
I will say first, as a part of the discussion, some of these vehicle requests may or may not have actually gone, and some of them may have moved since the inclement weather. For example, I'm looking down here, the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio, for Martin County Middle School, and Sheldon Clark Aviation, where they were not able to go on that date, and it's been postponed to a later date. So some of these trips may have been postponed.
Okay, do you have any questions or comments?
My question is, this is not an approval for these trips, is it?
No, it's the report. Some of them are going to be, I mean, it has to be to the board. The board has at some point requested for these trip requests to come in.
Okay, we didn't approve these requests at the last meeting or anything, did we? Or did we?
They've always been on there.
Did we did?
Yes.
Okay,
You pay for gas.
okay.
And bills.
Any more questions or comments? If not, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Need a vote.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is superintendent matters. Report only.
It's a report only, but if the board members have any questions, I'd be pleased to answer.
There's a lot of new hires. Are these new hires replacing people who have retired or moved other places, sir?
Yes, sir. There's no new allocations.
There's no new allocations.
No, sir.
That was my, I guess I was just beating around the bush.
Next.
Okay.
Okay, the next item would be discussion and possible action on district allocations.
Chair. Before you, board, you have the allocation formula for each school. This is required by Kentucky Administrative Regulation. At a minimum, as you see in front of you, for example, each school has to have a principal is required. The teaching staff in the primary grades, for example, if you have a kindergarten class, 24, you have to have a kindergarten assistant, and of course, one teacher. Going all the way up through the high school, for core content, for every 31 students, you have to have one teacher. These are minimum requirements based on these calculations. We only go up from here, and between, the requirement is for the board to pay for general fund, out of general fund, allocations based upon student populations or student needs. Between this period and May, the principal and their site base will conduct a needs assessment and where they need teachers and what type of teachers we need, and that needs assessment will come back. And then the board will look at the allocations again and to determine if we need to increase or if I need to transfer or whatever needs to be done. And then at that point, the board can always come back at any time and offer general fund allocations to any school. It's up to the site base whether they want to, what they do in their buildings with their student population and their classes. I understand legislation in the House and the Senate, and they're determining whether it's going to be that those decisions are going to be left there, but as it is right now, this is what the board is required to do, provide allocations to the school so that they can start the budgeting process. Any questions about the allocation formula? And it's not a funding formula, it's just an allocation. Yes.
Okay. If there's no questions or comments,
But
I
there
need-
are there, okay, there are not any positions created through that.
No new creations. If anything, there are less allocations on there than what we have. But through the needs assessments, the principals are going to come back and say, we need this one and this one. But they may be, those may be funded by your grant funds or Fund 2.
Mr. Haney, I'm sure you'll be back, won't you?
No,
If needed, sir, you come right ahead.
I'll be right here.
All right.
have that wrestler here too to take you down. Any more questions or comments? If not, I need a motion on the district allocations. Have a motion, I need a second.
One second.
Have a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on resolution of Martin County Board of Education authorizing the superintendent to act on behalf of the board in connection with the sale of surplus buses.
We had I spoke to the guy at the bus garage, he's not here tonight, right?
Mill.
Oh, Pete?
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah.
He couldn't make it.
Okay, yeah, I had asked him to, come, he had, apparently we've got, a lot of buses.
He would have been here Monday, he was scheduled.
Oh, that's right.
Because we
Okay, that's
moved,
correct,
he
yeah.
couldn't, he tried to make it tonight, but he couldn't. And yes, he's been out there. There may be more, Gary, than the 13 or 14 that we have identified. There may be upwards towards 20 or so.
Well, Larry, if it's possible, could we reschedule him to come in and talk to us?
He is.
He's gonna come next month.
Okay.
Next,
Because he talked about policies that you can have to keep, after buses get sold, you get no money for them, no
Right.
funding. And they just sit there just dead, waste. And, actually, he said there's, areas and stuff where you could sell it, is it key stuff?
yes.
Yeah, but they're the best avenue to take them. They take them down to South America and stuff like that. Instead of get top dollar rather than just,
You got to drive down there?
I guess they stick them on a bus or, or whatever. They said that's, far better than holding like a public auction here, maybe sound.
Yeah, so this motion, getting back to it, it gives you the authority to act as the agent, is that correct?
Yes, to sell, to offer up a surplus. The caveat to that is if the board wants to see the number before we do that, certainly, we can table the thing until
Well,
we determine.
yeah,
what the board wants to
Yeah, I
do.
wanna make sure we get top dollar.
Well,
Okay.
that, if we engage with transportation and Pete, we will get as much as we, I mean, they'll
Okay.
try to get as much as we can.
Okay.
The only question that's unknown right now is exactly which buses and how many buses. And if the board wants to do that before I sign off and surplus them, then I can do that.
Was it about 13 buses?
It's at least 13.
At least 13, because I remember talking to him, we have, 26 runs, is that right?
Yes.
And they recommend that you have, maybe 10 spares or
About 10
something like
spares,
that?
Yeah.
And we've got, okay, that would be 36 buses, if I'm not mistaken, we have something like, have we got 53?
Well, I think that was another list that Pete was looking at, but we got more like about 45, 46, so,
Okay.
and that's what we're trying to, we'll have a complete list for you.
Good news is that we're getting into new buses. So.
Yeah.
Is there a minimum bid on these buses? I mean,
It's high speed. You could do this 2 ways. Wait, what's the, you can surplus these buses in 2 ways. You can either have a local auction here, or you can engage with either, like someone like Pete Miller, or you can engage with an auctioneer, or you can have, which you typically do for a local auction purposes. You would engage with a contract for a percentage of the commission if you do it locally. They're taking up space. I know it's a lot. Boneyard.
I hope we can get, like Gary said, top dollar.
Yeah, top
I hope we
dollar.
get another new bus out of it.
If the
I
bus,
don't think it would be.
I mean, if the bus is running, you're usually gonna get at least $1,000 out of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, if it starts,
To go
well,
toward a new bus.
even if it doesn't start, you're usually gonna get $1,000, even if it doesn't start and it's got flat tires, because there's, it's been my experience, what people are looking for is the trannies and, rear end, things of that nature, where they can refurbish.
So it's on KSBA, well, one district is buying some old buses from another district, but I guess.
Yeah, you might not want to.
Oh, shoot.
The way that I understood it, you get funding each year for your buses. Okay, that's out, and once they reach a certain age, you get no funding. I mean, they sit there, and if you're paying, things like insurance and things on them, for vehicles that are just sitting there, they're not being used, they can't be used. Probably the only thing you could do, maybe cannibalize them for parts.
That's a
Well, we can use them, you just don't
liability.
need money for
We
it.
avoid that, it's a liability.
Well, I'm just saying, that would be the only thing maybe that you could do.
But you're right, we want to get on a schedule to where we're getting it for our district, we want at least 2
A year.
a year.
Yeah. Well, now, he said that there's a way to do that, and there's a policy that we can put in place. That's one of the reasons that I wanted him to be here, because he said a lot of school districts, what they do, they wind up like we are now with 13 buses, that we need to get rid of. And if there's a policy in place, then you've got the mechanism there, because boards change. And if you've got, if it's policy, then you go by policy, and you're able to do that. Rather than rely on new board members coming in, and then you've been stuck with, as we are with 13 buses that we need, that we should have got rid of, some time ago. And I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just saying. It's just,
sounds like you are.
Well, yeah, well,
If you accumulate, I mean, the district, first of all, for Alex's information,
Well, yeah,
this
it's
district has been very good in getting new buses. But on the other end of getting rid of those old buses, and you're right, Mr. Ball, it does cost the district to have these buses sit over there.
Yeah.
So we need to get in the habit. The limiting resource in all of this is the ability of us to bond and purchase these buses, really. Other than that, there is a schedule based upon the number of buses that a district has. There's a calculation formula on how many you need to purchase every year to keep that inventory going. And that's, for us, is 2 each year. I believe maybe in 12 and 13, there was none purchased because the money was not available.
Oh,
Other than
okay,
that-
so the motion is authorizing you to
Yes.
act on that. What, can we ask you to check with this gentleman about, the guy, Larry, what's his name?
Pete,
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 the
Pete,
transportation guy.
about selling the.
that's the only way we're going, that's the route we're going. The
Okay,
board
through
did not,
Keystone, okay.
yeah, we're not gonna have a local sale. If I would come back and, okay, scratch that. You wanna table this?
I was gonna,
Well, we can table it till he comes, yeah, we can table it.
They have to have it by March 26th.
Oh,
The agreement.
I was just getting ready to make a motion.
And what the agreement is just give Mr. Meadows, he
Right.
can accept the highest offer, or he can reject it.
Okay,
So
okay,
he
that's,
don't have to take it.
I'll make a motion.
And we don't know that till May,
Yeah.
but that just gives him the.
Motion on the table, I need a second.
I'll say.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
What?
Our next item is discussion and possible action on Chinese contract for school year 2015-2016.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Going back to what we discussed in our previous open regular session last month on the possibility of getting 2 Chinese-speaking teachers to deliver that content for language program reviews for our district. The approximate amount is around $30,000 a year for both, and that's, I mean, $30,000 for 2 teachers, not for each. That would be the total. Now, that is an approximate amount. Typically, when budgets are created, or if I ask you for a proposal and I say this is what it's estimated to cost, usually there's a margin of 10%, whether we're buying a product or a service or even an employee. So I will report back to the board, but I'm asking the board tonight to consider what we've already discussed in the previous meeting, because I made the comment that it did not, at that time, did not obligate the district financially, because we had not sent out our representatives to the campus of Western Kentucky University to really answer all the questions that we had, because we want to make sure that this is going to help us close achievement gaps in Martin County. And if you have questions for Mary Ann or Mr. and Mrs. Farley, they are here. They both went to the campuses, Western Kentucky, and also I believe Miss Estep, which is not here, I think she was here at the last meeting, that we feel that this is going to be an impact. And when I say feel, there's data to support, not only because it's going to contribute to our program reviews and foreign language requirements that we'll have to deliver next year, but it's going to be credit bearing, and at the high school, an opportunity for our kids to gain dual credit for that foreign language as well. So I'd be happy to try to answer any questions that the board may have. And Mr. and Ms. Farley are here, and certainly if they want to contribute to that discussion.
Well, I can understand, achievement gaps. I mean, what, achievement gaps, what gaps? I mean,
Foreign language,
okay, foreign language, that's it.
is going to be a requirement. You can speak to that, Brent, and also listen.
Okay, well, that's all right. I mean,
Language not here.
You know,
No, that's
I
an
think
important question. I think it's
It's a
one that
world
deserves.
language requirement.
World language, did I say foreign language?
It's a world language
Sorry,
requirement
thank you,
that the
Frank.
state is putting in as part of their program review process. And the schools are being asked to have at least 2 foreign languages to fulfill that requirement.
That's not
I
the
think this is
same,
a great opportunity.
if I may, that's not the same piece of legislation that they're trying to use computer programming as the in the foreign language department.
That
is
I'm
it?
not sure.
No,
Okay,
no,
they
that's
are
not.
trying to do that.
That's not attached to that bill.
Okay, good.
It's called world languages, and
Yeah, okay.
it is a push.
Okay, thank you.
Any more comments or questions? If not, I need a motion to accept.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to, get these guys 30,000 years.
Okay, I have a motion, I need a second.
I will second it.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is discussion and possible action on board meeting policy, procedure, and protocol.
I'd like to table this if we could till next, till the regular meeting. If that's all right. I mean, I wouldn't make that motion to do that. There's still some things that are kind of unclear. We need to, look at this. We've had a lot of,
We'll call it a first reading.
Huh?
Yes,
We could table it or call it a first reading and come back. When we come back, we can have any kind of improvements or anything we want to put on it.
it's kind of like up in the air right now. We've had, it's up to the rest of the board. I mean,
If I may, it would be important to discuss those concerns so that we're able to modify this, because we wouldn't be able to discuss it outside of the board meeting.
well, we could discuss it as far as educational purposes. We could do that as far as among ourselves. I mean, there's things, we're not taking any action.
But
So
you wouldn't be able to discuss this issue outside of a regular, because this is an issue.
Well, I'm not talking about, we could discuss it, am I correct, Mr. Schmidt?
I don't know what you want to discuss. I mean,
Well,
I don't know, is this the first reading, or is this more than, is it?
No, this is not a reading.
We tabled it the last time.
We could call this the first reading. That's what I was saying. Maybe we could.
Well, last time, what, the first reading?
We tabled the proposal
Yes.
last time because a couple of us had a couple of things we wanted to make clear in it. And I don't know if it's as clear as I want it to be, but I do hope that the media here, if this is called as a first reading, or if it isn't, regardless of, I would like to have a meeting where input from the public could be brought, because it's something that might concern their friends and neighbors and kids. So I just want to make sure that happens, that the opportunity is there.
Then you can bring it up at the next meeting, just have it scheduled for the second reading, and it can all be discussed, and you could adopt some and not others, or do whatever, however you want to deal with it. Just do it at the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real hurry, because these policies won't be effective until the next school year.
Okay, we are allowed, board members as far as like, call Mickey up and just say.
You can talk about it, two of you, but, you can't.
Yeah, we can't
You can't meet
I
at 3,
understand
or
and
you
take any
can't
kind
have
of
a,
action, yeah.
you call Mickey and then call Roger and work out an agreement in advance.
No, that wouldn't, no, but for educational purposes, we could.
Yeah.
The thing that I want to avoid is that, I understand that we've had some rough meetings, and we've had a lot of public input. Let's see, you're laughing at that. And although it has been hectic, overall, I think it's been, in a sense, productive. I mean, there was a time when board meetings lasted maybe 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Things were done and nobody, what, they did this? I don't want it, I want order, but I also want input. I want people to, to make, for transparency.
It allows input.
Yeah, yeah.
Lois, I will, since at a second read, before the second reading, it can be discussed and changed. For that sake, if you did a motion, I'll second
no
that.
problem.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion. Okay, you need a second.
yeah.
Okay, you need a vote?
I mean, Ms. Walker, I should Lois. So.
What?
To table it? Or, I mean, to pass it then, you want to go with your
First
motion?
reading.
Okay,
Okay,
the first reading, okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, you go
Okay.
first reading, because we
Okay,
can
I'm
change
sorry.
it. Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. So who seconded? Okay.
Maybe you-
I need a vote then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next item is discussion and possible action on alternative school relocation and alignment.
I have provided the board with information on a proposal for Martin County Alternative Programs, which would be, as I've referred to as a Graduation Success Academy. We have a sizable number of students, or what I refer to as students in our community that are not in our classrooms for one reason or another. For example, we have 105 citizens of Martin County that are school age that are on homeschool. Now, before someone takes my comment that I'm maybe against homeschool, I'm not. In fact, I champion parent rights, parental rights to educate their children, take care of their children, whether it's education or medical or whatever it may be. But the data that we're analyzing is what are some of the issues that guardians or parents are taking their children out of our schools? Because I champion public school systems, and certainly the board does, or you wouldn't be part of this board. You champion public education, and we want to create an environment that's inviting to all of our students, but most importantly, that provides an environment of success for our students. And so not only the 105 that are kind of spread out through the grade levels, they're not just the high school or the middle school, they're spread out. But why are these kids not coming to our schools for whatever reason? Are we not offering the programs that are needed? Is it gifted and talented? Is it special education services that parents or guardians don't feel that we're providing? We're getting into the analysis of that data and figuring out what it is, because we're a public school system and we think we offer the best choice in education here in this county, or region for that matter, or state. Hopefully, we should be. But we do have a population of students, and taking that and also into account that beginning in school year 15 and 16, the compulsory age of attendance for children of school age is 18. Unless they're 18, they need to be in school, or they may be in homeschool. But we need to create an environment for those. I think, talking with Mr. Grayson, we have at least one student who dropped out because they hit the magic age of 16, but that are not 18 yet, and that student is going to have to either re-enroll or homeschool. So we're trying to figure out, maybe a transportation issue, maybe a participation issue, but as I mentioned this board and stress, I think about equity every day, and not only equity, but its accessibility. Because in a rural area, transportation is a huge challenge. Access to educational services is a huge challenge. It's not like a urban area, in which urban schools and districts have their own set of challenges. But here in rural Kentucky, one of our greatest challenges is transportation. And that may be something that impedes or interferes with student success, and then they sign out for whatever reason. Dropouts, we want to intervene. So we're looking at that data. Now, coming to the point of my proposal to this board is to have an alternative program that's separate from our campus. Not only looking at those issues, but with the small population of students that we have now that are enrolled in an alternative. And any time that a student is not in the regular traditional classroom, it could be considered what I would consider an alternative track of education. Certainly, we're not proposing a long-term solution, whether it's behavior modification or credit recovery or any other circumstance that would warrant a student to be placed in an alternative classroom setting rather than a traditional setting. But we're working very hard to identify those needs and what's happening in our classrooms, what's happening in our community that's preventing these kids from coming to school. Why isn't it an attractive environment that these kids want to be in, for whatever reason? And again, parents, if they want to homeschool their kids, that's fine. That's their prerogative. It certainly is their right, and I support that and applaud that. But I champion public education. So we also have at-risk students that habitually and repetitively throughout their academic experience or educational experience are in whether it's a Tier 3 RTI, meaning, for the audience's information, a more intense instructional program or environment where the student-teacher ratio may be a 1-to-1, or there may be a small group instruction to close achievement gap. And that particular student or students, throughout their educational experience, are always being pulled out, but back in the classroom, they'll catch up, and then they start falling behind, pulled out again, so the consistency of that child's education is interrupted throughout their entire educational experience. Certainly, when we get to the high school level, and even in the proposal, I even mentioned the possibility of middle school, and under extreme circumstances, of course, we're talking about possible expulsion, danger to themselves, to others around them. But we have to create an environment for these students to be successful. For whatever the reason is, there has to be an environment where our children, all students, all children in Martin County, school age, have a place that they can be successful in. And we want to create that. So my proposal is to, for the board to consider and recommend that we move forward with an alternative classroom that is off of our campuses. As part of the proposal, I have conducted or started an initial exploration and a partnership with a facility here in Inez, the Roy Collier Center. And again, it's an early discussion with them, but they do have a great environment where our kids can be successful. It is off campus. We have access to computers there. We would have at least one and probably two classrooms. One a computer lab, the other one a traditional classroom. It is supported fully with internet capability. There is health and PE opportunities and gymnasium available there. Of course, all the utilities would have to be included in whatever arrangement or agreement that the board would make. There's also complementary services that are available to these students, whether it be adult education or the possibility of establishing a track that if we are not successful in whatever we're doing as a district in getting these kids on the path to success and graduation, and that's what we really want to do. We want to get them to graduation. But if that is not possible, we certainly want to provide, we want to bring an awareness to that student and their family that there are other opportunities such as GED and adult education where they can continue the education in an alternative classroom setting. So I'm recommending to the board that that you would take action on allowing the district, the school district, and myself in particular, to engage with Roy Collier Center or any other facility that would support an alternative classroom. You're not obligating any funds, you're not obligating, you're not creating positions, but I certainly don't want to move forward without the board's at least consideration. We will consider this opportunity for an alternative classroom off-site. Also, for the audience's information, the sheet that I provided, the narrative to the board, also includes at least one, probably two, full-time teachers, both certified. One would act as a head teacher, or with a principal certification that could be the principal, because it would be would have a school number, separate school number. And one support staff, which would be an instructional assistant and for clerical support as well. There are a lot of logistics involved in making this successful as far as nutrition, food services. We believe that we can overcome those challenges and get the meals to those students, whether it's breakfast, lunch, and perhaps even dinner program that we began last year. We'd like to take back up again.
I have a couple of questions. Which school, is it the high school that has the most that's dropped out, or homeschool, whatever? High school or middle school?
Homeschool? Kind of spread out. What we see on the data, Ms. Walker, is, we'll see, I'll look at the data in some of the age groups, it's like 16, 17, then you don't see them anymore, because at the age of 16 right now, they can, with parent consent, they can drop out. So we don't have all of the data. I can't see above the 105, those who have turned 16, I don't see on there. Now, there are a couple of students on there that I'll see at 17, because that's when they went on homeschool. But there's a certain population, I don't know what the data is, but that's what we're digging for. But it is spread out.
What does the middle school do now for alternative classroom?
Very seldom do we have a kid that we place in alternative school. It has to be very, very severe. We've not had very many even over the course of me being assistant principal or principal, but we have had a few. But they do go to the high school setting when that takes place.
So they've always been mixed in with the high school? That was my
Yes.
next question.
Yes.
They're not separated at all, they're all in there just together?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't
I
like
don't care for it.
putting
No.
sixth graders with ninth graders, 10th graders.
Like I said, we've had very, very few cases of it, but we have had a few.
I only think it's been in the last 9 years.
And it's the most, I mean, I
There
think
may
it
not
very,
be any
yeah,
in the future,
it's
and there
not,
might
it's
be
not
10 or
good.
20, right? No one knows.
You said in the work session, you need to know something because their board is meeting.
I believe, it's my understanding that their board is going to be meeting tomorrow. They do know that these early discussions that I've had with some of the folks down there of the possibility of, entering into a lease or an agreement with their facilities.
So what a motion would be is to give you authority to talk to them.
Right.
Yes.
Make it a
Begging,
good price.
I beg your pardon, sir, it seems that you already have.
Well, what I'm asking is, I'm informing the board that I don't want to do this if the board is not going to explore an alternative classroom. I mean, yes, I can go down and talk to them about the opportunity. I don't need the board to approve me to speak to someone about, the possibility of this exploration. What I'm asking for the board is to consider the off-campus alternative setting and for me to engage in a contract negotiation if it's open with them. It would not be approved by the board until I brought back the contract to the board. But I do want to enter into negotiations with them, with the contract.
Okay, you said that there were other facilities that are there any other facilities here?
Not that I'm aware of, and I've looked, but
Okay,
certainly
well,
if anyone in this community knows of facilities that would support educational environment, certainly we'd explore those, wherever that may be.
Was that a good You can discuss and come back with a proposal.
That's what I asked, what exactly did you enter into?
No contract would be signed until you
No.
come back to the
No,
board.
So what you're saying is you're just going to speak with them and get a price?
That's right.
Yeah.
Is that necessary?
Well, I don't know to the extent to which I understand it. I thought you were asking the board for, I guess, to express its interest in such a proposal to such an extent that the people you're talking to might be interested in discussing with you proposals we can bring back.
That's right.
It's more or less a statement or an expression of intent that the board would be interested in listening to them or seeing if they might make a difference.
Correct.
It wouldn't be binding on the board to do anything other than authorize the superintendent to gather information and tell the other parties, the board has some interest. We're not guaranteeing we'll do anything, but we'd like to talk about it and see what we can propose and bring back to the board for its consideration. I think that's what
Yeah.
he's saying.
Well, the whole thing's the alternative. Let's go on for that. I mean, how would we segregate like the grade levels, you know what I mean?
He can ask them that. He could maybe
Yeah.
ask
Come
them
back
that
with, I
question.
guess,
Yeah.
or some kind of.
We're gonna have,
What would happen if there was middle school there? What could they do?
So what you need is for us to give you permission to explore the options.
Yes.
for Alternative school.
Yes.
Good way to do it.
the problem I see is that there's a lot of community use. By that up there, you're gonna have people in and out.
Would that be a liability?
Well, it's in early discussion, but it is,
Yeah.
on that particular floor, there's very little activity on that floor.
What floor?
Most of the traffic through the day is on the third floor.
Okay, you've got the fitness center there.
It's on the third
Third
floor.
floor. What is on the second floor?
The
We have ours.
cap office,
Adult education.
Camp office,
adult education.
adult education.
There's a classroom and then the computer lab that are kind of like right next to each other that aren't being used.
Okay,
Well, I think
but then they'll be going downstairs for PE and things like that.
one reason we should consider, take a look at, and see what our options are, because we need more space at the high school, because we've partitioned off some classrooms, which we could undo, and some of those programs could have more room. I mean, I gotta look at that aspect of it too.
May I ask Mr. Baldridge, what do you feel, what do you think about this?
It's something that we've been asking for, and Mickey knows this for years.
Would be nice, you know, the only problem, and I can understand it being, on the second floor where there's limited. But you're taking kids down to the gym, they're gonna be on the first floor, they're gonna be,
There's a lot of logistics that will have to be looked at, and I
yeah,
fully
it'd be-
understand that.
Yeah, it would be nice if it was our own building, that we could control completely.
And that will come eventually, I'm sure, when the new high school is
Yeah,
put
the
in
new
place,
high
there will be
school.
space then available. But, you know, the only alternative I see is we leave everything as it is now, which is really not viable, or we explore an option to move them off campus. And you are aware, I don't know if the board is aware, that all their test scores, because they're on campus at the high school, are also tied to the high school directly. And if we move them off campus, their test scores become tied to the district and not to the high school per se. Mickey's fully aware of most of this stuff that, we've talked about this for years, haven't we, Mickey?
Sure. My whole deal is, show me the money. I wanna know how much money before I can
Yeah.
say it's a great idea. I mean, it's a great idea to move it off campus. We've wanted it off campus for a long time for many different reasons. Different teachers have different reasons, but, you know, we sit here on a board and control public funds.
Yes.
And I'm sure some things will slip by me in my tenure on this board, but I'll try my best not to let some things slip by me. And I want to know, because this is going to be an expense,
Yeah.
an extra expense. And until I know that extra expense, sir, I can't buy that car unless I know the price of it. So, you know, that's where, I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would think $500 a month would probably be reasonable. 1,000, depending on how many students we're talking about. Do you understand what I mean?
It says 15 to 18. Doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it may just be short term, 3 years.
Right. That's what it is. It's gonna be short term.
Yeah, it's
So
probably
it's not,
short term. I understand that.
you know, and then you're not doing it for 12 months either, right? You're only doing it for the school period.
School period,
So-
9 months.
We have to lease them.
I don't know what they want, you know?
Right.
Well,
Yeah. Well,
That's exactly
And that's
right.
what Mr. Meadows is asking, you know, he's gonna get those
for the
proposals
options, yeah.
to find
Well,
out
evidently,
exactly
he's
what
got a pretty
they
good
want.
idea now,
I do.
okay? See?
And the reason why one of the reasons why it's on the agenda tonight is so that we can have a public discussion. It's really hard to discuss these issues over email with board members. The public needs to really be engaged in what we're doing as well. Everyone on this board agrees with that, but certainly that's one of the reasons why it's on the agenda, so that everybody knows what we're thinking about doing. And there'll be a good, healthy discussion in our community about, really, do we need that?
What's it gonna be for a year?
Again, it's going to be a range. I can't,
Is it gonna be for 9 months or 12 months?
well, this will be for a school year. It will be based on a school year, meaning if we enter into a contract, and I don't know this, but under most circumstances, even if you rent a home, it's usually a year's lease.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's everybody's budget, so you can know your finances, what's coming in, what's going out. So I would assume, use that word cautiously, that a facility like RCC, or Roy Collier Center, would expect to have at least a annual lease for the school year, meaning
July 1.
August to, well, not, or maybe it's in August, maybe it's July 1 and June 30th, but certainly from an August 1 to May 30th.
So what our motion needs to be is to give you permission to explore the options,
Yes, ma'am.
and bring them back to the board.
Okay, then bring it back to the board.
Yes,
Okay. I have no problem with that.
okay, do I have a motion on that? I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
I guess I'll agree to go ahead and give you the permission that you already have taken.
Okay, our next item is discussion and possible action on Martin County Middle School library position.
This would be for the school year 15-16 school year. But in order to get the advertisement out there and not wait till then, I'd like to ask the board now to create a full position at the middle school that complements certainly the high school based on their student population, that it would be a full position. However, the allocation would still be a 0.5 general fund at this time, and the other 0.5 would be perhaps through the grant funding. But we need a full allocation or a full position at the middle school.
What possible grant funding are you talking about?
It could be Title I, for instance.
I thought we already had
It-
a librarian. We do, don't we?
You don't have a full
You
position.
don't have a
Oh,
full-
we have a full-time position.
The allocation's a 0.5, and what that means is the board
Half.
supports half that position for general fund, and it's split between Martin County Middle School and Warfield Elementary School. At this point, we need a full position for Martin County Middle School, but it's still a 0.5 general fund allocation, but it will be a full body there, and the other half will be picked up either through a general, or a Fund 2, which is usually a grant, or it could be instructional monies out of Section 6 that are given to the schools. Again, this is a budgeting process, and as we work from this point, and based on the needs assessment back from the school itself, and Mr. Haney and his site base, we'll determine what that's going to be.
Okay, when you say Section 6 money, it's your $100 per
Yes,
student,
sir.
right? Okay. I'm not for that. I don't want to take money from.
Well,
You know,
once that money's given to the site base, they can do whatever they want to with it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about, I would much rather
Give them a general fund.
the board, that the board, fund the position and not,
I understand.
and not the school. I mean, it's money for kids. I don't want to give it to that.
Why is there a 0.5 librarian there now? How long has that been going on?
It was there even before the merge, probably some of these folks can give me the history on it, but we had two middle schools.
I've taught for 22 years. I've taught for
86, it's study librarian, I think about 1986, there wasn't even any for it.
I would venture to say it was, I'm sure you had money at some point, you probably didn't have the money, but at every school required by law must be supported by a librarian. KRS law is that if a school district has 1,000 schools in it, you're still only required by law for a minimum of one librarian. Obviously, that wouldn't be good practice to have 5 or 10. In our case, we have 5 schools, to have one librarian to service all of those schools. But we would be in compliance with that librarian if they went to each school and served each school. So you can move that back to a portion of a full-time librarian. However, it's my recommendation as we continue to move forward and address some of these gaps in our capacity to deliver instruction, especially in the important area of librarians, that the board pony up, I can use that term, the board would support those, the general funds.
Sir, if you include in that motion, in that proposal, that the .5 is from a second fund, the grant money, or comes from instructional money that the site base decides on using that way, I will make that motion.
Mr. Meadows, on that, as far as the instructional funds, there is possibility of Title I, the grant money or full GF money. Instructional funds is not a good source for that. It would take it all to split that.
It would take what?
It would take it all to split
Take all
that.
the money.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about, yeah, because you only get $100 per
So, I
student.
mean, it's either a full GF or it's a grant.
And as they asked, Title I is usually our first source, because what we want to do, and for the audience's information, for your benefit, once the board allocates it, meaning the board provides an allocation, whether it's a full-time, meaning a whole body, or a .5, the board is obligated to support that with general fund money. Meaning we cannot leverage any Fund 2, and that means grants. We can't take any grant money and then supplant the allocation by the board. So that's why usually it comes out of Title I, it's a sizable pot. Even in the $100 per student at Brent School, we're probably still talking about $46,000 or maybe $50,000 roughly. But that is not that's not a go-to pot of funds to support these kinds of needs.
I don't like using, section,
And no one does.
yeah, the six,
But they
I
can
mean, we've had problems with that in the past, so I want to make sure that all the principals have all the money that they need to do everything that they need to do with it.
And they do. But what they do with it when they get it is up to the site base.
Yeah, yeah, I understand, yeah.
Is your Title I money free? Can it be free for
That,
that?
that changes from year to year, and, it depends upon a lot of things that the site base decides to do, RTI, whether you, librarian, a lot of different sources that you pull in there. But we do usually have a pretty good lot of money.
Look at the possibility of having full-time sometime, someday. It's, all the elementary schools also. Just look. I'd like to
I
see
agree. And maybe we'll be able to do that this year as we move forward.
Sounds good.
Any more discussion? Vicki, was your motion still on the table?
Mine was killed.
Yours was still, okay.
Full kids need library.
Yes.
Full-time library.
Okay, is that a motion for full-time?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
As a librarian.
I need a second.
It was the motion. Okay, to have a full-time.
Full-time,
Yes.
yes.
Children need it.
The problem, I have no problem with it being full-time. I want to make sure how it's funded.
Most likely,
I don't want
it's very unlikely that Martin County Middle School site base is going to say that their Section 6 money is going to be anteed up for that. So you can pretty much rest assured that I can speak on their behalf, I think, pretty safely, that that's not going to happen.
Okay, so
But now they can overrule that, but.
Well, as long as it don't, as long as it don't come out of your own money, I have no problem.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second on that.
Okay, I have a motion, a second, I need a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm for you having a full-time librarian, sir. And I knew pretty much the answer to the question I asked in that motion that it wouldn't be done. I'm just wanting to see where the money's coming from. But I believe in librarians, and I believe in that they're just as important, regardless of these Kindles and all these things that are popping up. There's nothing that beats the book.
Yeah.
How sure are you, sir, that we can get it from grant money?
Martin General Fund.
Scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I don't
It
know.
is going to be, I think we can, and if we can, I'll come back to you and say, we can't do this, and I'll let you know and I will inform you along with the treasurer's reports of where we are, if we can afford that full body, but I'm pretty sure that we can, yes.
But you will inform us
Oh, absolutely.
about that. I vote yes.
Okay. Motion passes.
And again, for, yes, it
And I
passed.
don't want you to think I'm being difficult
No.
for it. I'm just,
Mhm.
Yeah, I understand.
Not the least.
I'm more careful with everybody else's money than I am with myself. I own it. Ask my wife.
Your personal financial advisor, I've got one of those too. I get an allowance every week.
Yes.
It's very small. But there's an important point here, and I know that action's already been taken on that, but let me add to this. It's important to remember that when the board allocates a position, it cannot be supplanted with any other monies in grants. With Section 6, it can. But with, you know what, Title I or any other Fund 2 cannot be used to supplant a board allocated position. That's why it's important that we do the 0.5, and then from here to, next year or whenever we need to put that body in there, that we know we can do it. Because if you say general fund, then you're locked.
Okay, thank you, Carissa.
Yes, at this point, I've asked the Madam Chairman, Chairperson, Chairwoman, how did I say that? What's the proper record?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
From
all right.
a .5 to a whole.
There is a discussion, the next one, discussion possible action on entering closed session for superintendent formative evaluation. We have requested the chair to move that down to the end because when we come out, it's a formative evaluation. There's not public discussion on that. The summative is a little different. The board will come out and have public discussion on that or report on that. So we're asking to move that item down to the last. If folks want to stay for it, they can. If they want to leave, they can. But at this time, we want to recognize the student that came in, Carissa. Come on up here, Carissa. Where you at? Thank you, Carissa. Good to see you again. I shared with them a little earlier about why we were recognizing you in the Craft Academy. But we certainly want to do that now with you here, and you just came from Warren State.
Yeah.
Did you get to talk to anybody down there about the craft, or is that
I did not. We were doing the competition.
So how did the competition go?
I think we did really well. We didn't place, unfortunately, but
Okay. All right. Did you have a good time down there?
yeah,
How's Morgan campus? You like it?
very nice.
Yes, it is very nice. Good auditorium that you were in? Did you go to the auditorium down there? Is that where you were today?
No, we were in the art building. Yeah.
Art building? Claypool Young?
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right. Well, we want to recognize you tonight as the Morgan County School Student Spotlight. This certificate is awarded to Carissa Sweeney for exemplary value of Martin County education. Congratulations on this huge.
By the way, her ACT score is a 30 as a sophomore, so.
Just made us all feel a little bit dumber. In my case anyhow, I'm about 10 points below that, 12 maybe. So I already presented Carissa with a coin. Congratulated on her when she was, or we were notified of your selection. But for the audience's benefit and the board, why don't you share with us a little bit about what you expect out of the Craft Academy, maybe how you got there and what your plans are.
I think that'll be a really nice opportunity to actually go because once I'm there, I'll have so many more opportunities for different classes that I could take or different career paths that I could explore. Or I just get to see a lot more of the fields that I could possibly go into.
All right, and your mom's here. Okay, there we go. Now, who do you attribute, and you're not in Mr. Farley's class by any chance, so were you ever in Mr. Farley's class?
No.
Okay, all right. So who do you attribute your success to?
I would say it's my mom.
All right. Audience, the Craft Academy, if you're familiar with the Gatton Academy, which has been and is the #1 high school here in Kentucky, the #1 high school in the nation and has been for several years running.
Yeah.
The Craft Academy was created and established by a very giving donor. I think they gave $3 or $4 million cash or something to start this, so that our young people in Eastern Kentucky especially would have access to a pathway of success for not only for the remaining time of your high school, which you will also graduate high school, but at the same time have that opportunity to be enrolled in those dual credit courses. Certainly we want to encourage our kids for science and technology, engineering, mathematics, the STEM, but also the arts and humanities. Morehead State University is a wonderful university. How many alumni do we have in here? Very good, very good. So it is a wonderful university. It's a growing university. And the Craft Academy is kind of like going to be a university on a university campus. So my hat's off to you, Mom, because this is huge. How old are you, Kristen?
I'm 16.
16. One of the factors in dropouts in post-secondary education is the loss of a network and maturity of our students. They're not ready to go off early ages 17 and 18 because they lose the network, they lose the support network, whether it's family or community or what you have experienced at the high school in that social belonging, and all of a sudden our students have graduated and you turn around after you get that diploma and there's nobody around telling you to get up, go to school. There's nobody calling you, where are you, where have you been? So it's a big step. So to have a 16-year-old sophomore to step into this kind of environment, it is huge. And you have to have a good level of maturity and support. And I know that you have it. Is Mom going down with you?
I think she'd like to.
But anyhow, we congratulate you and we're here for you. If there's anything we can do, if it's within our power, we will do. We want you to be successful. And I've already shared with Carissa that we expect her to be the trailblazer. She's going to mentor and really help us with students that will be following her, because we've already started in identifying those students who are eligible. Certainly we just had our ACT test that we're taking, so we'll be looking at the results on that, looking for candidates. So we congratulate you and we're very proud of you. And you really represent Martin County well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Carissa, might I put a word of advice to you is 2 letters, UK. Very good school, great campus, beautiful buildings, state of the art, and they got a pretty good basketball team. That's right. That's right. Well, we'd love to see her down at UK.
Craft, is that Joe Craft?
I'm hoping
I got 4 letters.
anywhere.
Joe Craft has a facility at UK?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Oh, I know Joe Craft.
I don't. I just met him one time, so
We've been out to dinner together.
Did he buy?
Of course you did.
Of course he did.
You should have asked him for some tickets, Mickey. Or your friends.
I'd just like to say congratulations, and you're the first. You're the first, and that means, and hopefully we have many more. Congratulations.
The next item is discussion and possible action, approval to request maximum number of disaster days from Kentucky Department of Education.
Chair, this is just for me, and it's required that the board would authorize the superintendent to request emergency disaster days. So we may be early in the game of requesting those, but I need to be prepared to craft the letter to be sent to the commissioner requesting the maximum number of disaster days that are available due to the inclement weather.
Why didn't we do the,
School-bound learning?
yes, why didn't we do that? I see that a lot, like when schools cancel schools.
It was a pilot
they'll say-
program initially.
Excuse
It was
me?
a pilot program initially. They covered like 10 districts all across the state. We decided to do that.
I thought we did it like 2 years ago.
We did it 3 years ago. It was a tornado year, and we only had 5 days until we missed that year. One of the prerequisites for small spring was you had to miss 20 days the year before. So nobody in the state qualified. And Miss already came to North Carolina left. It was kind of her baby. So it just kind of went away for a couple of years. Last year we had Armageddon winter, so we decided to do it again. There were some bugs that happened.
In addition, you need to be aware that even if you sign up for it, there are certain things that must be met before you even get those days. And one of them is the percentage of participation of students on those days when you're out of school. And if you don't meet the criterion, the state will not grant you that day. Just because they say you've got 10 days doesn't mean you have 10 days. You have to prove that you qualify for the 10 days.
It sounds like a pretty easy thing on the surface, but when you start digging into the layers of things that you have to make sure.
It's like Pike County, you're under what? But they only got 5.
They
If
got
they
5 out of
pick
10.
10 schools, who picked that, KU or the?
They have made a call for a proposal, so we are now crafting our proposal for those days next year.
Has to be submitted May 1.
Any more discussion or questions or anything?
What this is before you do that, or this is after
Okay.
that. The KAR says you have to make up the first 20 days that you miss in the school year, so you have to add that time back to the calendar. We've missed 23 days.
23.
So the next one kind of goes along with this one about spring break. We've taken all the possible breaks that we have had, because we went to school 2 days in the last 3 weeks, not counting this week. Wednesday, 6 days during the month of February. So we're eligible right now for 3 days because we've missed 23. Ronnie called me yesterday and we talked about, he done a pretty good thing in the newspaper, he explains it pretty good. So we may have another day or two that we miss. We may have 5 more that we miss. So this just gives us the authority to request however many we end up being eligible for, to up to 10, or the maximum is 10. So right now, if we were to get the 3 that we think we can get, our last day will be May 29th. Right now, we are at June 3rd without any disaster day help.
I'll make a motion. Okay. I have a motion, I need a second.
I'll say.
Okay, I need a vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on removing spring break from the school calendar.
Mr. Grayson?
Yeah.
Basically, what I just said, we missed 23 days. Our average, I think, I haven't done this, but I know from doing it. You go back 10 years, our average is probably 14 to 16 days a year. You know, some years we miss 8, 4, or 5. Last year we missed 31, plus some disaster days. This year 23. So, in years past, we've done the same thing. I think people kind of expect, once you miss X amount of days, to do everything possible instead of June. June is like not a good time to have school. You know, it's just bad attendance, people on vacation, teachers take summer classes. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It's just not a good time. It's hot, air conditioners break down, bus don't have air conditioning. I mean, it's just not good.
Any discussion or comments from the board on spring break?
We have 58 days of school left. Unless we get the 3 disasters, that's 55.
When is spring break?
When was it?
Oh, when was it? Oh, it's already.
It's still in there.
That's
but,
what we're doing. This is.
March 30th to April 3rd, I think.
So it's 5 days?
Yeah. Just make sure the dates are right. I think it's, yeah.
I don't think the thing, it could be shortened.
If we put, say, 2 days in there,
Yeah.
we would be at June 2nd.
If we put 2 days in?
You'd have to,
So if we eliminate it, we'll be in May.
yes,
Okay.
right now.
Before my
Right now.
birthday, right?
That's subjective. We're not missing more school.
We have 2 days that we won't be in school. That's election day because we use 2 of our schools as polling places, and Memorial Day. We can go to school on Memorial Day, but that's also an awful incident. We have done it in the past. This day is May.
Question, Mr. Grayson. If we did that a partial, can we come back if we have other problems at the next meeting and cut out the days?
Yeah, you can do anything you want. I don't have to submit this till June.
Yeah.
But it'd be easier on me to explain because I get 40, 11 calls
Will we be meeting before then? We won't.
You won't need that before spring break. Not before spring break.
Not before
Unless you have a
Right,
special
right.
meeting.
Yeah,
And here's the thing too,
Got
seniors at this point in the year order their graduation invitations, and they wanna know what the date is. Family members from California, Detroit, wherever, have had call and wanna get plane tickets, and they're pretty rude sometimes, about me not knowing, I don't know. And
All right, so
you
what-
don't know.
what would make it easier on you? To do away with it and have a set date?
Pass this.
Well, easier on me doesn't make a difference, I can, I mean, I can.
Well,
do
I'm talking
whatever.
about easier on you in the sense of setting a concrete date to where you could set it.
Well, if I knew what cards I had to play, and then I could
Yeah,
play. But I don't know what you got, if you guys wanna leave 2 days in there, then
would that make it harder?
it would, here's the thing, we try our best to have graduation on Friday. Because it's easier for people to travel, we don't have to take days off through the middle of the week. And Friday, in our situation now, also gives us 1 day, just in case it rains. Because we have to have graduation outside, so we could have it on Saturday. So, if we can keep it on May 29th, and it's the list of dam bursts, and we have 5 more flood days, I think that would be the best for everybody.
I'll make a motion.
Your motion is that we remove spring break?
Yeah.
Okay. And need a second?
How many days have they already missed?
23.
Spring break in February.
Yeah, we went 6 days in February, and one of those was a shortened day. It counts, by the way, for any of you guys that get to the question. They removed the 6-hour day requirement last year, the legislature did, so the other school day, it counts. I've had people call me and tell me that it don't count. Sorry, it counts.
Okay, all right, you made the motion. You did, yeah. I'll second it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
have a motion, a second, I need to vote, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, our next item will be our reports, administrative staff reports, Martin County Educational Association reports, and school reports.
Madam Chair, I have one report, I believe, and that is Tammy for administrative staff reports. Finance.
Well, I know what these are. You're keeping us in order,
I'm keeping you informed.
up to date, no surprises.
No surprises. And it's the very bottom one, I believe. Monthly report. Should be, on one point. Should be on down through there. Okay, at the top, Carolyn. You see on the 3/11 date, right there, right there.
Carol, is there any way you can remove the box from that line? No, the box, no RGB signal.
This is one you have to look at, because that one is, it's what they're having problems with.
Okay.
Okay, Martin County Board of Education, financial report, March the 11th, 2015. This is a slow one, Barbara. And this is a copy I've given to each board member, and if you will look at, this compares February's balances from 2013, 14, and 15. And as our balance is in general fund, Fund 1, and it gives you all funds, we are short on a little over 110,000 on our revenues. But I called today, and I think about 50% of our tax money has come in, so that should change next month.
All right, so how do you mean we're short? Where do you,
I mean, compared, not short, compared to the same time last year.
last year, okay.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I see.
So you see it's a 3-year comparison, kind of gives you an idea of where we're standing at this point from the previous 2 years. I think that's the only notable thing I see on this report. And this is just a reminder, our revenue and funding sources are our local taxes, property taxes, motor vehicle tax, utility tax, franchise, and on-mine minerals. Our state seat funds, this is the revenue that creates our general fund revenue.
Do you know any idea, I mean, do you have any idea on unmined minerals
I
this
do
year?
not.
Okay, yes.
No, I know they started collecting in January, which is a little different, and I shared that with Mr. Meadows this morning. I have a schedule. They usually start collecting, I think, in April or May, but now they're collecting in January. 2015-16 next year priorities, which are what we're looking at ahead. Of course, the step increase, the 2% state mandated raise, Kisbet debt, liability, those obligations that we have, 2% carry forward into our new year. A new roof at Eden is a need, and new buses, of course, is a need. And as I was reviewing, when we do our draft budget, I'll address this real quick. Percentage of revenue, general fund, state revenue is 70%, so local revenue is 27%, and miscellaneous is 3%. So of course, we're dependent on state revenue for the majority of our revenues. Okay, this was what I was going to address. Our state mandated COLA, or cost of living allowance, not fully funded by the state for next year. And as I was reviewing more exact numbers for next year, it looks as if we're going to need approximately 1,000 just for the step increase, which is our year's experience increase, and our 2% mandated raise. That's a big increase of salaries for our general fund. And of course, concerns would be a tax base due to local economy and seat funding related to enrollment, attendance could possibly decrease. And of course, this just shows you our salaries are 72%, which will increase next year since we're taking $450 just to cover experience and state mandated raises. So salaries, the chunk or the piece of the pie is going to increase from 72% upwards. And the state is to give us an increase in our seat funds. But as they did this year, they gave us an amount that they were going to allow for seat funds, and then they took back $33,000. So our experience increase approximately $180,000 for the next year, fiscal 16. Projecting state mandated raises, 2% raise next year, an additional $270 for approximately $450,000.
Carryover.
And we need a contingency of 2% carry forward, 2% state mandated salaries, step increase, 270, 260, 180, which is approximately $710,000 just to meet those requirements. That doesn't give you anything extra over. And currently in our budget, when we did our budget in the fall, we allowed $485 in contingency. But as I review our expenses, if we stay tight between now and June 30th, I do believe that we're going to meet at least the $700 and some thousand needed for next year. And of course, this shows you our seat funds, and it shows you this says $37,000, but the actual numbers just came out and $32,000 short of what they originally gave us from the state.
Well, seat money currently in 010 was quite a bit. I was just looking at,
And no, that's fine. It just says stabilizing finances as good stewards of taxpayers' money, ensure funds that provide staff, materials, which have a direct impact on student achievement. And of course, we are all here for the students. I do want to bring one more thing to the board's attention. As I review numbers constantly, it came to my attention that our utility tax, if you do a comparison from 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, we're down about 180,000 compared to last year. And it's highlighted, the two yellows. And we're down 180,000 on our utility tax.
Okay, you mean down, that is,
We have received 180,000 less, and that is a big chunk. So I wanted to make the board aware. Someone, they could have,
okay, go ahead.
they could have filed their utility tax reports, discovered that they overestimated or incorrectly filed a larger number, and now they're asking not maybe for a refund, but a credit to what they would pay that month. But 180,000, that's no small change, and we make the board aware of it.
Well, you know,
Mr. Reynolds and I spoke about it.
You know, how come from 11, 12, all the way through, it seems to fluctuate, and you've got 473,000, almost $100,000, well, over $100,000, the prior year, then back up to 485, then drop to 307. I mean,
And it's just companies. Some may file late, some may file early, some over-report, some under-report and have to pay. So it's just different scenarios in the collection of those revenues. I have been in touch with the Department of State Revenue, and they did explain that to us. And again, just making the board aware that that is a red flag. That's a big, it's a lot. It's a big number.
A lot to lose.
And then omitted property, the same thing. Of course, last year it came up quite a bit, 114,000 at this point, and now it's down to 25 at this point, at this time in our fiscal year.
What's omitted property tax?
I believe that's where you license things maybe, or you pay for something out of district. Or even possibly, I'm not sure if it could be even out of state. It's just not paid here. Any questions? Any information you need or want, just let Mr. Meadows know and I'll be glad to provide it. You're
Have you
welcome.
any chance of maybe getting our contingency up like above 2%, like, be nice to have 2.2 or 2 point? Yeah, because 2%, you're right at that.
Yes, and it depends. As you see, the revenue is so variable. That is not within our control. So it just depends on how we end our year and what we start.
Have a little buffer,
We do.
because,
What did we end last year with Tammy?
Ending balance, $1 million.
Okay. What percentage was that?
Percentage.
Yeah, what was it?
Oh, okay, 2% is around
240?
240.
240.
So 10%.
So we did pretty good.
We did excellent.
We were looking at, and our projected, if the board may recall, at the capstone in the last school year that I provided, our goal is to increase that by 250 each year. However, we also see we are experiencing some unforeseen expenditures, one being a roof at Eden Elementary. We have to take that money from somewhere, so that's going to put us a little bit behind. The 2% mandatory increase that we were mandated to give, which our employees deserve even more, but we're not being funded for it. We're $60,000 in the hole the moment that they passed that legislation. So the burden the local burden is increasing. I'm done.
Do we have anything from the Martin County Education Association report or school reports? No. Okay. And our next item would be discussion and possible action on entering closed session for superintendent's formative evaluation, policy 02.14, pursuant to KRS 61.810.
Question. When does this have to be done, Madam Chair?
Evaluation.
The formative evaluation?
This evaluation?
Yeah, the formative evaluation needs to be done, no later than before the summative, obviously, but it needs to be done mid-year.
Needs to be done when?
Mid-year.
Mid-year? Or can we do it?
Yes.
Can
you
we
can.
table it and do it?
You mean later?
Yeah. like next meeting. I mean, my feet are really ripe. I've been wading around in water all day and a little tired. But it's up to you all. I mean, it's, you know, it's up to the board. I'd rather, it's, you know, it's up to the board. It's up.
You were flooded, right, Gary?
Huh?
Your home was flooded, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all have no water from midnight to, and I'm really, I want to tell you something, I'm very, very much aggravated that the water district is sticking us with the bill for providing water for two of our schools. I don't like that. I think they should, they've done it before, they've paid for water. You know, that's not a board matter unless you all make it one, but I will contact BSC and make sure that.
So are you making a motion that we table it?
Yeah, I would make a motion to table it.
Okay, I have a motion to table it. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I need a vote. All in favor, say aye. Okay.
Until next meeting, what,
Yeah.
you don't mean like in April, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
next
another-
meeting, yeah, actually, it's the next meeting, that, yeah.
Okay, need a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, does anybody have anything else to say? Oh, special meeting, I'm sorry, special meeting, sorry. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, audience. Thank you, board. No, you're okay.